Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank all of our members for taking the time to join us today. Most of you have received your notices about the upcoming construction planned for King Street this year for phase 1 of the downtown loop. This, of course, is a very complex project, lots of moving parts, and we've partnered with the city to bring the right city staff people together to answer your questions and to give you a little bit more information about what work is moving ahead. And we're hoping that, again, this information will be useful in helping you plan around your business. The speakers today will be covering a number of topics today, including the timelines of the project, the management, traffic management in particular during the construction, as well as accommodations that are in place to ensure that businesses continue to run as smoothly as possible. And this will include things like parking and loading zone areas. They will also be sharing how we will together be keeping the area clean and safe and easy to navigate around. And we also want to share with you some of the ways we'll continue to be promoting and communicating to patrons, your customers, how important it is to support local and how best to reach you. So hoping that this information is helpful and helps to clarify some of your questions. So at this point, I will turn things over to Andrea.
Thanks, Barb, very much. Sorry, I'll just get started here on the agenda. I'm Andrea Roseborough. I'm a communications manager for the City of London, and I'll be moderating the meeting tonight. We have up to 2 hours available for this meeting, so we'll start with presentations from all of our panelists. Then there will be a Q&A session at the end for about 30 to 45 minutes, as long as we need to fill out the 2 hours. Just a little bit about the platform that we're using today. This is a Zoom webinar, so unlike a Zoom meeting where you can see one another, you can see us, but we cannot see you or hear you. So we're going to use the Q&A button to converse tonight. So if you have any questions at any time, please, if you scroll to the bottom of your screen, you should see that there is a Q&A icon down there, and we'll use that to communicate this evening. If you're uncomfortable asking using this format, that's not a problem. Just please contact your BIA and they'll work with us to get you the answers that you're looking for. And just a reminder that this meeting is being recorded. We'd like to be able to circulate a recording afterwards for anyone who was unable to make it this evening. A couple of other quick items regarding the platform. At the bottom, you would see the chat function as well. Just to keep the conversation focused and organized, we've actually disabled that tonight, so it'll be the Q&A that you'll want to use, and the raise your hand as well, just to keep things organized. So those have been disabled, and it's all about the Q&A. So heard from Barb, and that's great. We have a wide range of speakers and panelists with us tonight, including our mayor, Mr. Ed Holder, and your Ward 3 Councillor, Ariel Kayabega, who you will hear from shortly. We have representatives from across the City of London service areas and from partner agencies and organizations with us tonight. All of these individuals are involved in delivering or supporting this project in some way. Many will be contributing to the presentation this evening, and some are here tonight just to take any questions you may have at the end. So we do encourage you to send us your questions as you have them. And so with that, I'd like to welcome our mayor, Mr. Ed Holder.
Well, thank you, Andrea, and thank you, Barb. You know, it's important to be with you here today, especially with your ward councillor, Ariel. It's great also to see so many familiar names on this call. Welcome, and I sincerely appreciate you taking the time to join us. We all know that downtown is truly the heart of our city. It's a gathering place for this community. It's a place where we come together to celebrate, to cheer for some favorite teams, to work, to play, to shop, and experience arts and culture. I know that this past year has been one of the toughest in our city's history, and you as business owners have shouldered some of the greatest burdens from this COVID-19 pandemic. I know you've been working tirelessly to adapt and to serve your customers safely through some of the most trying of circumstances, and I need to recognize your incredible efforts. I think we're finally starting to see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Sometimes I'm sure you didn't even think there was a tunnel there. but we must prepare for the brighter days that will be ahead of us. This past year, we saw a number of things, including several new high-rise towers that began construction downtown, and these will eventually be home for thousands of future downtown residents. And it's important that we be ready for this growth. The investments we make today will ensure that we can support what I see as exciting changes in the future. The downtown loop is about more than just transit. It's about upgrading our aging underground infrastructure and creating new and vibrant streetscapes above ground that can be enjoyed by more shoppers and more diners. Today, you'll be hearing about services and investments the city has put in place to address the priorities that are necessary throughout the duration of the project, your priorities. There are undoubtedly a number of challenges ahead, but we will be here for you every step of the way. So I thank you sincerely for your participation this afternoon and for collaborating with us on what I believe will be a transformational project for downtown. And I sincerely wish you every success as you work with us through these challenges, and my sincere thanks. Back to you, Andrea.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And now I would welcome Councillor Ariel Cayabega, though I'm not sure if she's made it onto the call just yet. Do we know? Just give
I'm
her
right
one
here.
more. Hello, there she is. Okay,
Hi.
welcome. Councillor Cayabega, over to you.
Thank you, Andrea, for having us, and thank you everyone who has been working tirelessly on this project, and to our community as well that has been patiently waiting. It is finally here. We get to start the first phase, and it's a pleasure for me to be here. This is a very important meeting, and I see some familiar faces in the room. It's very exciting. But with every construction project, there's always some disruption, and there are certainly going to be some challenges ahead of us, and we will have to hold each other through this process, and hold a high standard on the delivery on this. This project is about making improvements in the core that will prepare us for the future. It's about supporting the development and the growth that we're already starting to see in the core. And making sure that we're building a sustainable city in which everyone can travel safely. We have amazing people on the street. The project team from the City of London and their contractor are very dedicated to making sure that this runs as smoothly as possible for you and for all of us, so that you can all focus on safely serving your customers and clients. So throughout all of this, we all have to work together in the spirit of collaboration. I hope that we'll continue to extend grace to one another so that we can continue to have this shared success for this project and see a thriving downtown and a thriving business area for years to come. Thank you again for everyone who has worked on this project, and everybody who is going to be going through this work together. We're going to continue to hold each other through this process, and know that as your counselor, as your city council, we will be here to continue to support and be a strong voice for you and be a strong support for you. And back to you, Andrea.
Thank you very much, Councillor Cayabega. At this time, I'll now pass things over to our first presenter this evening, Jenny Dan.
Thanks, Andrea. Hi, I'm Jenny Dan, and I'm the Director of Major Projects with the City of London, which is the team that's responsible for planning and implementing the city's rapid transit projects. I've had a chance to speak with many of you over the course of the planning for this project, and I look forward to continuing to work with you in the months ahead. I'd like to start by giving a brief overview of the downtown loop and municipal infrastructure improvements on King Street, focusing on Phase 1 portion, which we're building this year, from Rideout Street North to Wellington Street. The downtown loop is the first of London's new rapid transit projects and will introduce curbside, bus-only lanes and enhanced rapid transit stops. Future phases of the downtown loop include Queen's Avenue, Rideout Street North, and Wellington Street. Construction of these future phases is planned for 2022 and 2023. The project will add new streetscape elements as well as transportation and transit improvements above ground, while repairing and replacing aging infrastructure and sewers, water mains under the ground. The eastern portion of Phase 1 on King Street involves sewer separation work. I think our next slide has some images to help describe that. So what we'll be doing is completing this work we'll be completing this work between Richmond and Wellington Streets. It's really important underground work that involves removing century-old combined sewers. That means both the storm and the sanitary sewer are in one pipe and separating them into a modern sewer system. Last year, the city completed a significant portion of this downtown sewer work through the Richmond Infrastructure Renewal Project, and this is really a continuation of that effort. As the pictures here show, we'll once again be replacing infrastructure that is over 100 years old. The oldest pipes are made of brick, and to the right side of this slide, you'll see an example of a new sewer pipe being installed as part of a previous phase of work. With the intensification happening in the core, this is really important work to get out of the way as quickly as possible. This work will result in a healthier Thames River, increased capacity for development, a reliable sewer system, and an improved streetscape when we've put everything back together. This is certainly a major project, and we have put together a great team that will be dedicated to ensuring it runs as smoothly as possible for you. I'll highlight some of the key players who will be involved in this work. First off, I'd like to welcome our contractor, LAD2, who will be building the project. Brandon Shaw from LAD2 is with us today, and I'll ask him to introduce himself and say a few words to you.
Thanks, Andrea. My name is Brandon Shaw, and I will be the project manager for LAD2 Construction, the contractor on this project. As some of you are aware, we completed the Richmond Street project last year, which involved similar work with the sewer separation. In addition to that, LAD2 has over 35 years of construction experience in and around the London area. We're well versed with the downtown area, safety, pedestrians, access, all that kind of stuff. As everyone's aware, COVID is now another problem that we have to deal with. LAD2 has implemented their own COVID-19 policy, which we've shared with the City of London. Things went well last year, and hopefully we can have another successful project this year.
Great, thanks, Brandon. I want to next touch briefly on what the city's core construction program is all about. Before 2018, this program didn't exist. It arose out of an understanding that major work in the core requires heightened attention and collaboration. The program represents a fundamental shift in the way construction projects are being done in our most dense and developed parts of the city. We've expanded our staff, communications, and resources to ensure that we're providing above and beyond service compared to a typical construction project. We recognize the need for careful oversight, coordination, and constant communication with a focus on keeping business owners connected every step of the way. Our full team will make sustained, sincere, and strategic efforts to keep you in the know throughout the projects. And we're constantly looking for improvement opportunities, applying all of our learnings from Dundas Place, York, and Talbot, and the Richmond project last year, as well as Oldies Village Phase 1. We've done lots in the core over the last 3 years, and we keep trying to improve upon that. A key cornerstone of the core construction program is having a downtown construction business relations manager. For the last 3 years, Jim Yanchula, who so many of us now know as Downtown Jim, has been working on behalf of the city in this role. Well, Jim's secondment working with us in engineering has come to an end, and he has transitioned back to his permanent urban regeneration manager position at the city. Jim has played a key role in steering some of the most challenging core area projects in decades and creating process improvements along the way that will benefit this project. It's very clear that there is a tremendous value in providing ongoing support to residents and owners of properties affected by construction of major infrastructure in the core. So I'm pleased to introduce to you today our new business relations manager, Jeff Shaughnessy. In Jeff's previous role with the city as a subdivision ambassador, he has a great deal of relatable experience acting as a liaison between the city and the people that we serve. So we're incredibly grateful for everything that Jim has done, and we look forward to working with Jeff. So I'll now introduce Jeff to introduce himself and say a few words.
Thank you very much, Jenny. Hi, everyone. I'm Jeff Shaughnessy. I'd just like to say that I am very excited to be a part of this project and projects in the future, as I truly believe this project to be the first step in what will be a positive, transformational project for the City of London, that being the first leg of the downtown loop portion of the rapid transit system. On this slide, you'll see some of the things I'll be able to help you with over the course of this project. Be sure to direct your business-related needs and concerns directly to me using the contact info you see here. I hope I'm worthy of taking on the moniker of Downtown Jeff, so you can reach me at downtownjeff@london.ca or via my cell phone at 852-5220. I'll be working in close step with our construction project manager, Jaden, who you will meet shortly, to avert issues and implement solutions for you over the weeks and the months ahead. I'll be out on the street introducing myself to many of you in the coming weeks, and in the meantime, please don't hesitate to get in touch.
Thanks, Jeff. As Jeff mentioned, another one of the team members who you can expect to see most often around the job site is our construction project manager, Jaden Hodgins, who will now give an overview of some of the key topics many of you likely have questions about with respect to the project. Jaden.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jaden. It's great to be here today to meet with you. As Jeff just explained, he and I will be working very closely together to ensure we're helping find solutions for you throughout the project and keeping communications flowing. Jeff's your best bet for business concerns. However, please feel free to contact me at any time for issues related to the bullets you see in this slide. For example, service interruptions, figuring out deliveries, if you see something you're unsure of, such as garbage that hasn't been picked up, etc. You've got my contact info here, and I encourage you to contact me. I'll give a bit of a construction overview. So work is scheduled to start April 5th. It's anticipated that construction will continue until December 2021 with limited carryover work into spring 2022. We recognize that more residents may be disrupted by construction noise during COVID-19. Normal working hours will be 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Currently, there's no planned night work or weekend work, but the contractor may adjust these hours as needed to take advantage of weather or to catch up on the schedule. A multi-stage approach will be used to balance efficient construction with transportation impacts. And the schedule takes into account expected average weather conditions and known above and underground site conditions. Now I'll walk you through the staging of this project. Construction will be split up into the following stages in order to minimize the construction impacts. Stage 1A is Talbot Street to Richmond Street. Stage 1B, Rideout Street to Talbot Street. Stage 2A, Richmond Street to Clarence Street. Stage 2B is the Clarence Street intersection. Stage 3A is east of Clarence to the City Plaza parking garage exit. And stage 3B is east of City Plaza parking garage exit to Wellington Street. We have traffic management plans in place to provide alternate routes for vehicles, transit, and cyclists, which you'll see in the next slides. So construction's planned to commence in April in stages 1A and 2A at the same time. Then we'll be proceeding to stages to the west and east, which I'll show you next. What's important to remember is that the portion from Rideout to Richmond, at stages 1A and 1B, will be maintaining one lane of traffic and loading areas where possible, with short duration closures occurring as required for construction. Safe, accessible pedestrian facilities will be provided on at least one side of the street at all times. Signage will be installed for any pedestrian detours to help navigate pedestrian sidewalk closures. Part of this project involves the temporary King Street bike lane, involves removing the temporary King Street bike lane for construction and replacing it with transit-only lanes. So here you can see that during these first stages of work, bikes will be able to continue to use the King Street bike lane up into Talbot Street, which they can then detour up and get to Dundas Place. Cars and buses will be detoured down to York Street. So once stage 1A is completed, we'll be moving on to stage 1B, and the work east of Richmond will continue moving east. Stage 2 and 3 will require long duration full road closures. This is due to the extensive underground sewer separation work, which Jenny mentioned previously. At this point, King Street between Rideout and Talbot will no longer be a viable route for cyclists due to the construction. And instead, they'll be detoured up to Dundas Street on the west end. The movement of bikes over to Dundas Place is currently going through council for direction as to exactly how this will look. Once again, we'll be maintaining one lane of traffic between Rideout and Richmond so that businesses in the area can continue to be reached. However, through traffic for cars and buses will be detoured down to York. Detour signage will be installed to direct motor vehicle traffic to York Street. And you may have noticed that there's already some advance notice signs being installed. Driveway access will be maintained to the full extent possible. As I mentioned, London Transit Service will be detoured from King Street down to York Street during construction. We have LTC's Director of Planning, Katie Burns, here with us today to help explain how routes will operate during construction.
Hello, everyone. I'm Katie Burns. I'm the Director of Planning at London Transit. So for the duration of construction, although the construction is broken down into multiple phases, the detour for all transit routes will be from Rideout to Wellington along York Street for the duration of the construction along King. This is to provide a consistent detour and make things easier for our passengers to be able to determine when and where to catch the bus. So all routes that currently operate along King Street for any portion between Rideout and Wellington will be detoured to York through the whole entire project. We will also have temporary stop locations, and the aim is to have those temporary stops located as close to the intersections where the regular stops along King Street are to help with passengers navigating the area.
Great, thanks, Katie. I'm now going to touch on some of the ways that we'll be communicating throughout the project. So far, we've been in touch primarily through paper notices and e-blasts from the Downtown Loop project team. Businesses and property owners should have already received the construction notice, as shown on the slide, through the mail, which was sent in early March. We also hand-delivered some on King Street to the businesses. There will be other notices that come to you this way. Just to touch on some of the COVID-19 precautions, as we progress into construction, I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions about what's happening and where we are with things. The contractor, L82, needs to remain focused on managing their crew and subcontractors. So if you have any questions, please contact me or Jeff rather than the contractor. I'll flag that this is especially important during COVID-19, as we want to make sure we're keeping everyone safe. So contact me rather than tapping on the shoulder of someone at L82, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. To keep you informed of our progress, you can expect construction updates from me about every other week once construction starts rolling. Here's an example from the Richmond project last year that our team member Larry Davidson would have sent. If you haven't already signed up to receive emails from the Downtown Loop project, I encourage you to visit london.ca/downtownloop or our Get Involved site. Both have a form you can fill out and add your email where you can be registered to receive bi-weekly communications from us, in addition to other important project communication. Now I'm going to hand it back to Jeff, who's going to take you through some of the things we've learned and adapted and will be applying to this project.
Thank you very much, Jaden. As Jenny alluded to earlier, the core construction program continues to grow, and we're grateful to have some very solid learnings from past projects to apply to our work on the Downtown Loop. In addition to past project experience, we also conducted a post-construction survey in 2019 that was particularly helpful in shaping our plans. I won't read all of these out loud to you, don't worry, but I will say that the top concern we have heard is with regards to moving people around the project area. So we've really upped our game when it comes to signage around the construction site. These are the signs we use for navigational signage around the construction area, which we've created as a standard for all core construction projects. Jaden will get into navigation and accessibility in more detail a little bit later. We also know that site safety is of the utmost concern. As you are all aware, there are a number of social issues that impact the core, and there are instances in which people who may be suffering mental health or addiction issues, and they could be in distress or having issues that can't be resolved on the spot. We have a coordinated, informed response team available to assist, and you will hear a bit more about that later as well. We also know that keeping things clean is very important. You can see in this picture of work done to clean up around Dundas Place. We know that additional dust and litter and debris can accumulate near these projects, and we'll do our best to address these, cleaning up as much as we can. If you see a mess during the day, please let me know. If I know about it, I can work on a solution, so you're always welcome to reach out to me directly. We also know there is a huge desire for free parking and other incentives for core area visitors. Parking can get disrupted by construction, and people want to know where to send their customers. So we'll also talk about a bit more about that shortly. We know that there is a need for some special construction-related temporary parking and loading areas. Construction causes dislocations of where people can usually pull up curbside to drop something off quickly or pick something up or pick somebody up from a store. So we will also talk about that a little bit more later. There are going to be interruptions. It's important to set that expectation. There are two types of interruptions. There's planned interruptions, and then there's the unfortunate kind of unplanned interruptions. Planned interruptions are what we know we have to do in sequence for the project, and we try to let you know as soon as we possibly can. For example, we can't know weeks in advance when the water needs to be turned off, but we typically know at least 48 hours in advance, so we'll be sure to pass that on. Our contractor will put a notice on the main entrance of each business that's affected, and we follow up with each contact that's on our email list here at the city to confirm receipt of the notice. For many of you, these service interruptions can be dealt with easily enough when you have advance notice. For others, you may have specific issues related to these interruptions. Do reach out to us if that's the case, and we may be able to help. When it comes to plans that you may have as a business, advance notice of events is also very critical. Here's an example we like to show from the Phase 2 Dundas Place construction. We knew in advance about a free comic giveaway that Heroes Comics wished to host, and we were able to help with finding an alternative access area where the lineups could be accommodated. We also worked with Downtown London to promote the event, and it was a great success. Another example is this year, we'll be keeping on top of when the CCMAs are coming to downtown London, and the dates have moved into later fall, and we are doing our utmost to work around them as best we can. The sooner we know about your plans, the more we can help. So let us know, and we will do our best to work around any of your critical needs. Finally, as Jaden had mentioned, direct contact with city staff is best. Jaden and I are always happy to help, and we'll get back to you as soon as we possibly can. Another one of the top priorities of this downtown project, and something I mentioned earlier, was safety. And we found it's beneficial if you can hear directly from the team involved, helping to keep the area safe. Tonight with us, we have our core area patrol representatives with us. So I'll let Mike take us through what his role is and how they deal with security.
Thanks for the intro, Jeff. Welcome, everybody. I'm Sergeant Mike Potroff. I'm with the London Police Foot Patrol Unit. I'm one of two sergeants. The other one is Jackie Jovicic. I predominantly handle the downtown core while Jackie patrols the Old East Village. A little bit about who we are. We're over 20 officer unit now. We patrol, as I just mentioned, the Old East Village. We patrol the downtown core and Richmond Row as well. We currently work usually from 7 a.m. until 3 a.m. in the morning. Currently, we're running a foot patrol project, which actually gives us 24/7 coverage. We have uniformed patrol officers that are working their 7 to 7 overnight shift. They're giving us additional foot patrols in the core area from 3 o'clock until 7 in the morning. So right now, we have very good coverage downtown. Often get asked, what is a foot patrol call? What is a 911 call? I would encourage anyone, if they see a crime in progress, anything where there's someone getting injured, a kind of robbery or a weapons offense, that is always a 911 call. For the simple fact that we're on foot or on bike, we might be up at Richmond and Oxford, for example. We just can't, if we're on foot, we just can't get anywhere in a huge hurry. So always a 911 call. If there's ever any doubt in your mind, please just call 911. It's not like you're ever going to get in trouble from our dispatchers. If in doubt, please call 911. A typical foot patrol call, and Jeff kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but we'll deal with thefts maybe if the suspect is still on premises, if the suspect is already gone. We'll deal with trouble with persons calls. Quite often we're dealing with trespassing issues, vagrancy issues, which we're seeing lots in the core right now. Like Jeff said, somebody under the influence of possible narcotic or alcohol, we deal with that. Someone experiencing mental health issues, we certainly deal with that as well. and you're going to hear from Debbie Kramers from CIR. But we work closely with their group to help us out with individuals that maybe aren't committing criminal acts, but are downtown and causing us a bit of grief. As well, for the businesses out there, we do have crime prevention officers whose sole job is crime prevention, and we're more than happy to have them come out and speak to your businesses and offer some crime prevention tips and hardening your business. Things we've recently gone through with the project we're running is businesses leaving valuables in front windows, businesses having cash registers still in the business and on display, and possibly with money in them as well. So that's just a lure that a lot of people sometimes can't prevent themselves from breaking in. So we encourage that kind of thing. And certainly if we had our crime prevention officers, who are Constable Carl Noel and Constable Kathy Found, they're more than happy to come out, and we will do an audit free of charge. I believe that's all I wanted to really touch on, Jeff.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much, Mike. As Sergeant Pottruff had mentioned, London Police Services works closely with the city's coordinated informed response team on many social issues in the core when there is a need for intervention. Debbie Kramers is our coordinated informed response manager, homeless prevention, and is here today to tell you a bit more about the program.
Thank you very much, Jeff. It's a mouthful, isn't it? Coordinated informed response. I'm the manager for Coordinated Informed Response under the umbrella of homeless prevention. We work in collaboration with many services within the city, many departments together. If we can flip back a slide, that would be great, I think. Sorry. Oh, no. There we go. Thank you very much. So Coordinated Informed Response is a team of bylaw officers, our roads crew, our parks and rec. We have outreach teams, and we work in collaboration with London Police Services. What our goal is to compassionately address all the concerns and challenges that come with unsheltered homelessness. You will see that obviously as business owners, and I'm sure you have seen the challenges that come with unsheltered homelessness in our streets, and most definitely in your storefronts or vestibules and doorways. What I'd like to mention to you as business owners is our trespass program. We have a trespass authorization program with CIR, and it's in collaboration with LPS. What this is a program that is offered to private business owners. So it's the business owner themselves that sign the authorization with the City of London and CIR. And what that does is gives CIR and LPS permission to act on your behalf on your property. As it stands right now, CIR and LPS act on public property openly, but need the permission explicitly from a private property owner to enter their property to enforce rules, regulations, trespass, that sort of thing. So we have an authorization program where you sign up as a business owner, and you give us signed authority, anything moving forward to act on your behalf, challenges we find at your address. This could be everything from loitering to sleeping rough to actually encamping. We can enter your property, ask the individual what they're in need of with our social front. As I said, we're a compassionate team. So we start with our outreach. They go on site, find out who the individual is, discuss other options for them. And after engaging, bylaw comes on site and tells the person that it's time that they have to leave that area under the authorization of trespass. Usually that's enough, and then our roads team will come and clean up anything that is left behind that needs to be addressed so that pedestrians aren't tripping over it, especially during construction. We can't have clutter in those small areas of passageway we make sure we're very much on top of that. You will see CIR in the area on a regular basis during construction because it's very important to keep those narrow sidewalks open to pedestrian traffic and not have to have anyone stepping over anything. So once you sign up with the trespass authorization program, we then act on your behalf anytime you're closed or anytime we see a necessity to. You can also call us at any time. If you'd like to report something through the city, the best way is service@london.ca. You can also contact CIR@london.ca. 519-661-4570 is our phone number to report anything. And this is anything that is directly related to individuals, encampments, or remnants thereof, sleeping rough encampments and such. The CIR team is also busy actively keeping the sidewalks and downtown core clean. We pick, we do all kinds of things in the core area, so you will be seeing them, and hope to support you through this probably challenging time of construction, but we're trying to make it as easy for everybody as possible. Thanks.
That's definitely some very challenging and sensitive work that Debbie's team does. So thank you very much, Debbie. Jaden is now going to talk to us about construction site safety as well as general site accessibility.
All right, so yeah, through the design process of this project, the city is committed to keeping a safe and comfortable, secure environment top of mind. So with that, we staged the project to try to minimize the active work zone, to contain the debris, mess, and some of the security issues that come with construction. So around the construction site, there will be fencing to try to separate the public area from the construction area and to promote safety of both sides. There will be openings in the fence for when the contractor needs to access the various site activities, as well as bring in new materials. EMS will have access maintained at all times, and our contractors in constant contact with them throughout the project, just to notify them of any constraints that are expected on a given day. We remind all contractors we work with to follow the City of London's Code of Conduct. Our entire project team, both the city and contractor, recognize this as a chance to be good neighbors and make sure we're fostering a safe and respectful work environment for everyone who passes through. So getting into site cleanliness, we recognize that through our past experiences, garbage collection is always a bit of an issue and something that we're paying close attention to. So for garbage collection during the project, typically we would ask that properties have their garbage placed out early in the morning, before 7 a.m. if possible, and our contractor LED2 will make a regular sweep of the sidewalk area adjacent to the construction site to collect any garbage and put it in the bins, which is contained within their construction site. If you have any issues or if you feel like conditions are not being met, please report it to me so that we can follow up. Businesses using private garbage collection services will continue as is unless construction requires temporary alternative arrangements to be made. So if you're currently using a private garbage collection service, please make me aware so we can coordinate this. And garbage bins for the public will be available just outside of the construction zone. Pedestrian navigation and accessibility within a construction zone will always be a challenge. We're focused on improving and building on this area of construction by keeping the sidewalks open in construction zones as much as possible. So these are just some examples of signage we like to put up to give advance warning of any potential challenges we may be aware of with respect to uneven surfaces. This photo shows a customizable advanced warning sign for sidewalk closures placed in advance of the closure. That's definitely something we've heard about through our consultations with the public, is that sidewalk closures have to be communicated well in advance so that people can get around and avoid getting blocked in. So this example shows that the sidewalk is closed past CBC in front of the library. so pedestrians have time to change the route and they're not confronted with the roadblock. Here you can see some of the signs that Jeff showed you earlier in action. We've made these signs larger as well so that they're easier to read. And we also have some COVID-related signage up now to reflect the guidance of our local public health unit. Here you can see an example of some of the temporary ramps we've had to use on some of our projects. We do have situations where we can't provide a level or hard surface, so we'll provide temporary ramps just to allow for access for people with mobility issues to all the storefronts. And we want to make you aware that you do have an ability to report an issue you see in the construction zone to the city through our website, through our Service London portal. This gets directed over to our group. So if you don't feel comfortable making a phone call or emailing me directly, you can submit it through the city's website this way.
Thank you very much for that, Jaden. Your slides are a bit of a segue for our next section on accessibility. Melanie Stone is the city's accessibility specialist. There are lots of people in our community who, due to age, infirmity, and injury, whatever it may be, have mobility challenges, and for them, a construction zone presents lots of unexpected terrain and obstacles. We are always trying to be more attentive to what we can do to improve things on our construction sites. Melanie will explain what the set of expectations are and what we can do to achieve them.
Good evening, everyone. Well, whenever we have construction, we have significant disruption, which can affect people with a variety of disabilities going through the area. We often talk a lot about physical disability, and that is, of course, very important to focus on. But there are a lot of distractions in construction zones and a disruption of pedestrian sidewalks that impact people with a variety of disabilities, including cognitive, intellectual, and sensory disabilities. And we have learned quite a bit over many construction projects about how to be responsive and thoughtful and careful and really as inclusive as possible through these construction sites. So we want to just be sure you know that we are going to routinely update pedestrian maps with accessible routes and indicators of any upcoming hazards. The best thing to do is to contact Jeff or Jaden if there are any emerging issues. They can be in touch with me, and I'm always happy to go down to the site, take a look around, and problem solve. At this stage, there's rarely something I haven't seen, but there's always new and innovative ways to, creating workaround solutions. So just about a few minutes before this meeting, I was in an accessibility advisory committee meeting where they were once again giving great ideas on how to navigate these areas. We're lucky to have them and a supportive staff group and council to make sure that we're really thinking about these things as thoughtfully as possible. Jaden and Jeff are going to be continuing to respond quickly to any challenges that emerge. And if you notice anything related to accessibility or potential issues that emerge, especially as we get into the rainy season, what might have worked the day before, suddenly with a torrent of rain may not work anymore. Be in touch and we will problem solve through that. I will also be in touch with them so that we can remedy situations as quickly as possible. I do want to just give you a little tip if you can go to the next slide. One of the things that happens in a construction zone is that people who regularly rely on large signage are pushed a little bit closer to businesses. So they can't see the sign for your business as clearly. It's often important to put a sign with your contact information, address, or any information about your business that people need to navigate to that spot in the window of your business. It really helps, and to put it at a place where somebody who might be seated can actually, in a wheelchair, can see it and engage with it. I can always be reached at accessibility@london.ca, but the best way to navigate quickly is through Jaden and Jeff, and they'll be in touch with me as well. We need to support each other through this, and I'm happy to be in touch with anyone who wants to problem solve some issues. We need to be on the lookout for one another, for anyone who is, becoming disoriented, frustrated, confused, or stuck in a construction site. We all need to help each other. The city is committed to accessibility, and we will be continuing to work throughout this project to make sure that every access is maintained. And we're looking forward to the inclusive conclusion where everything is much more accessible. We just have some short-term difficulties to navigate through. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Melanie. Very informative and helpful. One of our goals is to make it as easy as possible for your customers to reach you, and we recognize construction displaces parking. We've been thinking about creative parking solutions for you and working with you to identify where those would be most useful. Loading and deliveries are always an issue as well, and we need to help you through those issues during this project and the others to follow. Here to tell you a bit more about the types of loading zones available is Merzina from Parking Services.
Hello, Varian. Uh, there are two types of loading zones that we're offering businesses. The first type of loading zone are permanent loading zone, and which you can see to your left. This zone has a white sign with a no parking symbol, text indicating below loading zone, and the posted time restrictions. The second type of loading zone is temporary loading zone, which you can see on the right. All temporary loading zone signs will have a sign posted. This sign will be used in the same way as a permanent loading zone. Just last week, the city announced the addition of over a dozen of these temporary park and pickup locations throughout the downtown. And several of those locations are in the King Street area on side streets. In addition, we've added additional locations recognizing the displacement of spots in that this project will create. Whether using a temporary or a permanent loading zone, you must be actively loading and unloading. What this means is the physical activity of moving merchandise from or to a property, or from a vehicle to a property, or the act of picking up or departing passengers from a vehicle, and vice versa. This means that it's not your permanent parking and that it's just only brief for deliveries and pickups. If you're a supplier and you want to spend more time in the downtown, you must make sure that you find longer term parking locations.
Thanks, Merzina. So this map here just gives an overall view of the impacts to traffic in their totality. So a lot of information shown here. But as explained, this is for the duration of the project, so it shows all stages of construction. But as I noted, the construction will be broken up into the separate stages. It also shows where parking and loading areas will be located in the area, and that's what we want to draw your attention to. So here's a little simpler version of the map. And the locations where you see dark green hatching are indicating where you'll have access to temporary parking and loading spots during construction. These were identified in consultation with businesses who explained their needs to us. So in particular, the ones being highlighted right now by the mouse are on Richmond Street, just north of King, and on Clarence Street, just south of King. And that will help support access to those businesses on the block between Richmond and Clarence for that first phase of construction when the road's closed. So next slide, please. So the locations we just showed you will be highlighted using a combination of these signs. So they'll just be those temporary signs that's shown here.
So we've just shared with you a whole slew of practical considerations that we'll be applying to this project. And another key part of mitigating construction impacts is communications. Through targeted and strategic communications plans, we're going to be letting London know that King Street and the surrounding area is open for business during construction. That's a really big priority of ours. So Colleen Giori from Downtown London and I will be working together on this, and we're just going to take a couple of minutes to walk you through some of these plans. As I mentioned, we've been working on figuring out how best to promote the area. This chart you see here outlines the marketing items that we'll be working on, as well as some of the construction communication supports that'll be in place. It also gives you kind of a breakdown of what the BIA is doing, what the City of London will be doing, and how you as a business can get involved in that work. And it has tips on how you can access some of the resources that'll be available. So the intention is really to demonstrate how all of us can work together, and we find that this is a good reference chart for you to have handy to know what work is being done on your behalf, and we'll update it as additional resources become available. And we'll make sure this is posted online, and we'll have hard copies available and distribute those to you. Colleen, did you want to add anything here?
Yeah, I just want to emphasize how important this chart really is for you as business owners. It really gives a good breakdown of what the BIA is doing to support you, what the city is doing, and even some suggestions for what you can do to get your business through this time. We know it's difficult, so I'm trying to give you some suggestions on how you can help yourself in addition to the supports that are already available from both the city and the BIA. I'd encourage you to take a look at those and see if there's any others that you can come up with as well, because it's always great to come up with new ideas and really put yourself out there during construction.
Here we just wanted to share some of the ways that you can utilize social media to get the message out there. And so many of you are very well versed in this at this point, but these are just some neat examples of some really positive and engaging posts that businesses were able to create to proactively let their customers know how to reach them. Getting posts out there that remind folks how to get to you, that you're open, and any alternative arrangements they may need to make is really great. We've also seen some people having fun with the construction as well. I'll show you some examples from Oldies Village as well. They've done a bit of some cool things through their construction season last year. Colleen, did you want to add anything here?
Yeah, just a really important note that when the construction fences are up, it can be more difficult for customers to see your open sign and know that you're out there, you're open, you're ready for business. So your digital presence is more important than ever during these times. You could post little videos saying how to get there, navigating the construction zone, some fun, bright signage lower down to indicate that you are open and people can see how to get to you is always great. Really encourage you to do those things and stay connected with your customers so that they know construction does not mean that businesses are closed during that time. You're here, you're ready. And of course, the BIA will be doing those things just as well to help you out. But again, any extra ideas, if you need support, kind of enhancing your digital presence during this time, just reach out. We're here to help.
So yeah, in addition to social media, we'll be looking into different advertising opportunities. We'll be bringing back some of the fun signage to promote the area. We've seen lots of traction with that over the years, and we'll be looking for strategic locations to promote coming to the downtown.
Yeah, the only other thing I can add there is that if you have any other ideas of how we can help folks navigate through the construction zone, any fun signage ideas, please reach out. We want you to feel represented in this marketing and in the signage. So if you have any fun ideas, let us know.
So along the way, there will be lots of opportunities to get involved. In past years, we've had pop-up signage installations. We've had businesses participate in radio ads with us. So do keep those ideas flowing into the BIA, and we can all work together and make the space really positive and enjoyable to travel through. In addition to marketing and promotions for the area, we've also been really focused on construction communication and making sure that you have the resources you need. In fact, I saw someone ask, will this contact card be available? Certainly digitally, and we'll be passing out hard copies of this. So you'll be receiving these contact cards and other items. Colleen?
As Andrea mentioned, we are actually going to be visiting each of you in the construction zone. Barb is going to pop by and chat with you and drop these cards off. But if you're looking at them and you're not sure who to contact, just call the BIA. We'll either tell you who to talk to or we'll give them a call for you.
Another resource we introduced in the past 2 years is the construction toolkit. Some of you will be familiar with this. A digital copy will be available online at the start of the construction season, and we'll be giving hard copies out to the BIAs as well for them to distribute. This document really contains all the info that you need about construction, info on the schedule, what the contractor will be doing on site in terms of garbage collection, site safety and cleanliness, traffic management. We basically packaged all the info we've presented tonight into this as a resource for you. So there's also ways you can get involved in here, for example, signing up to receive project updates, and that's something that's really important. It's a great way for us to stay in touch. Anything else, Colleen?
That's it.
All right. Here's just some more of what you can see inside of the toolkit, give you a sense of that. Yeah, so just some reminders here of how to stay informed and engaged throughout the project. The Get Involved site is a page where you can find important project info and construction resources, including the last email updates from Jaden and Jeff. Those will be linked on here. We'll also be supporting the BIA's social media efforts to promote the area, really just trying to amplify those messages.
And in case you ever do miss an email directly from the city on that email list with updates, we also send them out in our Business Insider, so you can find them there if you're more in tune there. And we're going to do our best to try and post them on social media as well. So in case you're just scrolling on your phone at home, we'll catch you somehow.
We'll find you. So here's a quick screen capture of the Get Involved page. And that's basically, that concludes our communications portion. Over to you, Jeff. Any final words?
Yeah, I've got some final words here. So you've heard a lot so far in this presentation about connecting with the right people. So speaking of the right people, here's 2 pictures of the correct people to communicate with, and that would be Jaden and myself. We will try to be as responsive as we can to your requests and inquiries that come in during this project. If it's downtown projects and business relations, please start with me. It may end up going through a multitude of channels at the city and other partner agencies, and I can help navigate that for you. If it's something directly about the construction site, especially in the moment as it's happening, it's best to contact Jaden first, because he's the one from the city that is paying attention to how the project is being built. So if you keep that in mind as you start the journey, you'll be on the right path. We rely on your eyes because we're not there all the time. We can't be everywhere, especially with the COVID restrictions. So please stay in touch. Let me know what the issue is as soon as you can so I can work to find solutions for you. We are very much looking forward to working with you and to a productive construction season ahead. We won't be perfect, but we're going to do our very best for you, I promise.
Thanks, Jeff. So that wraps up the presentation portion of tonight's meeting. And at this point, we'd like to start to answer some of the questions you've been sending in. I've seen a couple of them so far. And I'll put up a slide here that just shows, as a reminder, who's on the call with us right now to answer them. So the first question here that I see is Renew London, our website that shows the construction projects that are underway. Renew London lists the end date of 2A construction as being June 25th, 2021 at 6 p.m. Is that an accurate timeline, or when might we regain full sidewalk and street access? So that's for 2A, and that's that. Can you remind everyone what portion that is, Jaden?
Yeah, great question. So 2A is the portion east of Richmond. That would be Richmond to Clarence. So as we sort of noted, that's where the really heavy duty sewer separation work is occurring. So I really don't want to understate how major this work is that we have in this block. So the date we have in Renew London is Friday, June 25th. That's the one that's asked. So that is our goal, and that's what we'll be working towards. And that's the plan. And we hope to maintain that schedule. But, you know, with construction, we never know what we're getting into underground. It's noted that these sewers are 100 years old. We may run into challenges, but that is our plan to be to wrap up that first stage 2A by June 25th.
Thanks, Jaden. Actually, we have another scheduling question here. Someone's noting previously stated that work on stage 1A is to begin April 5th. Is that correct? April 5th is Easter Monday.
That is correct. And I could, we still have Brandon Shaw from LAD2 on the line, and I think they're keen to get started April 5th. That is Easter Monday, but maybe they're taking the Friday off then.
Yeah, that's correct, Jaden. We take the Friday off and do work the Monday. So we'll be starting on Monday.
Sounds good. We have a question about where the more surface type construction is happening versus the deep construction.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I think we've said it a few times, but the major underground deep construction is going to be those blocks east of Richmond. So Richmond to Clarence, the Clarence and King intersection. There is it's going to be it's very constrained in there, so it's going to be a lot of work in that intersection. And then there is some sewer work east of Clarence as well. So we have some limited underground work occurring in the 2 blocks right out to Richmond, but it's really not that super deep sewer work that you'll see east of Richmond.
Thanks, Jaden. I see here a question about parking. And the question is, for residents at the 175 Dundas back lot, that's by the clinic, have we figured out how those vehicles are able to park? I was thinking the Dundas entrance that wraps around to the back just needs to stay clear.
Yep, so that's a great question. So we have been actively trying to reach out to residents in there because there may be times when driveway there may be a time when driveway access may not be able to be maintained due to the construction when the heavy sewers are being constructed along there. So we'd encourage anyone with concerns about access to their parking area to reach out to me or Jeff, and if necessary, we can make alternate arrangements either by providing parking in the city lot or something similar to that.
Thank you. We have a question here about power outages. Will there be any planned power outages?
So there should not be any planned long duration power outages. Any interruptions to your service, we would be communicating that in advance to you and coordinating that work with you.
Thanks, Jaden. Okay, I've got one here about what consideration, it's about emergency services and access to 186 King, which I know is, that's for anyone on the call not aware, that's where we have the regional HIV/AIDS clinic. What considerations have been made to provide emergency access to 186 King? With the safe injection site located there, emergency services seem to attend on a daily basis.
Yeah, I can answer that. So 186 King, that is also in that block between Richmond and Clarence where we have that major construction and the plan of road closure. So we're working closely with the regional HIV/AIDS connection business that operates in the back of that building to look at solutions to their loading and operations. And as we noted previously, LAD2 will be communicating closely with EMS to maintain emergency access at all times for all properties.
Thanks, Jaden. We've got a question about parking lots off of King Street in that east portion. Has it been confirmed how parking lots off of King Street will be accessed?
Yeah, so I think this question also pertains to that same block, Richmond to Clarence, where we see a lot of those challenges with the major construction. So there are some parking lots that currently access off of King Street, which won't have that access anymore. So what we're doing, we're working with all the property owners there to provide alternate access through abutting properties. So that would apply to the all three of the properties who have parking access from King, the south side of King there. They will open up some segments of guardrail to allow access through the other parking lot. So you can access from either Clarence or York.
Okay. There was a follow-up just comment posted right after that question that the lot manager this morning wasn't aware if the fencing would be coming down. So just a comment to be aware of for us. We need to follow up there. We have a question about access to the Covent Garden Market. How will access to the Covent Garden Market be affected? And also, what about large truck deliveries?
Yep, so the Covent Garden Market obviously is between the loading bay there on King Street between Talbot and Richmond. And so this is a block where we are looking to maintain one lane of traffic at all times, as well as a loading area. So we'll be working closely and coordinating with LAD2 in the city and AECOM to ensure that we do provide adequate loading there for the market.
Thanks. I'm just pulling that up for our reference as we talk through this. It might be helpful for folks. And how about access to Bud Gardens parking? we share any plans there or any impacts?
Similarly to, all the work that's occurring between Rideout and Richmond, we'll be maintaining one lane of traffic. So those accesses to properties should be maintained at all times. And at times when access will be interrupted, we'll be reaching out and coordinating with those property owners.
Thanks, Jayden. Now we've got a question about Covent Garden Market underground parking. Will that lot have to close at any point during construction?
So I don't think so. I think we should be able to maintain that access with maintaining the traffic. So we should be able to maintain that at all times, but we'll be sure to communicate with Covent Garden Market if there are any planned interruptions.
At this time, it's looking like nothing's afoot.
Correct.
All right. These are great questions, everyone. Keep them coming.
Yeah, all really great questions so far. Obviously, by the sounds of it, a lot of people, concerned about access to property and parking. So it's definitely something we've been looking at closely through the design of this project and coordinating with property owners as we get closer to construction. So I'd encourage anyone who has any other specific concerns to their property to reach out to myself or Jeff directly, and we'd be happy to either meet with you or discuss it further and work towards a solution.
Yeah, and we know too that there's just through some of the ongoing work that you guys are all doing as a team, there will be additional parking added, and we'll make sure we update these graphics and circulate so everyone's aware as those change. I've got another question here that I see there is a planned loading zone in Market Lane of the Covent Garden Market. However, those north doors are currently locked as requested by the Middlesex London Health Unit. Will this change?
That's quite a specific question that I'm not too sure about. That loading area there, it may be related to sort of the COVID relief temporary loading zones that have been implemented by the city recently.
That's a good flag, though. We'll take that one offline because that's a really good point.
I was just gonna, if I may add, that's something I could probably assist with. I could ask some questions and determine if it is possible to get those north doors opened as a result of any construction on King Street. Take it offline is a good idea.
I think as we continue to host these events, we'll need to come up with some City of London elevator music. Get us through the Q&A, the lulls. Okay, can you please remind me of the number to call to have a safety evaluation completed? We'll pull that information up for you and send that over. And to the team, Michael and Claudia, I think we've got that in the CIR slide. I think it's around slide 36.
Yeah, Andrea, it may be beneficial. I think someone commented earlier as well on the contact card. Could you maybe bring that slide up? Because I think it's a really good resource, and we heard from some businesses, particularly in Dundas Oldies Village, that it was really beneficial to them. So if it's something that we're rolling out, it'd be great.
Okay, sounds good. I'm going to pull that up. I also see a question about, can we also get a copy of this traffic parking map? Absolutely, we will circulate. I think we have a spot where we've got both of these. I may have gone past it. Okay. Sorry to flip these so quickly, but I'll just try to find where we've got both of them next to one another. There you go. Is this the one you're looking for, Jaden?
Yeah, like I think it'd be great to get some print copies of those and get them out in business hands so they have that quick reference.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things we've done in past on the Old East Village project, we just speaking to the point around the parking maps, they are helpful to be able to help folks navigate to find you. And so we provided electronic copies of those for businesses to be able to, with identifying their specific business like we are here. And so that's something that we can offer if that's helpful at all at any point. We can specify it too if there's a particular closure happening. So really just those enhanced graphics that make it easy for you to share that info with your visitors and customers. We're happy to provide those. And as part of the navigational signage around the area, we have pedestrian navigation signs that are kind of a master one with a business directory. I'm sorry we don't have the one finished just yet. It's almost there. We'll have it ready for construction, but anyone approaching the intersection of Richmond and King would be able to see on both sides what businesses are located where and how to reach them. And it's something it's kind of whiteboard finished, so you can wipe it down as we've got pedestrian closures and just really help people to navigate to find you. And it lists all the businesses. So it's another thing that we've found helpful in the past. Oh, not construction related, but have the names of the stations been chosen? Jenny, are you still there? I know you are, but I wonder if you can give an update on where that is.
Yeah, that's something that we still haven't determined yet. Different municipalities use different naming conventions for how they approach their stop naming. It depends a lot on the type of transit, how it integrates with local transit, and that's something that we're going to be working together with LTC as we come up with our wayfinding. With the Downtown Loop project, it's creating that core loop that will be able to turn buses around, but it won't actually have any RT buses operating on it itself. The first RT route will open up when the East London Link project is completed. And so that won't be till probably late 2024, early 2025. So we've got a bit of time to figure out how everything's going to integrate, how we want to communicate, and the wayfinding that's going to come with those stations. So it's something that we're starting to talk about, but we haven't determined the answer yet.
Thanks, Jenny. We have a question about security. Theft and aggression is on the rise. Is there a plan to help provide better security for businesses?
I can speak to the foot patrol side. I don't know if security within the construction site that was pertaining to, but outside of the actual construction zone, foot patrol we're not supplementing anything. What we have right now is more than adequate to take care of any concerns that might happen in and around the area.
Thank you.
I would just add to that as well. We do have some provision in the contract for security services that we can apply as needed.
I guess I can jump in there quickly as well. Like Jaden said, there is an item in the contract for security. We've hired a local security company as an as-needed basis, whether that be overnight, during the day, depending on what construction activities are going on and in what areas there will be security present if needed.
A question about, could cameras be installed and monitored by Stealth? Is that something that has been done on past projects or would be done?
Is that the question related to cameras during construction? I think that many of the intersections and some of the downtown locations already have some security cameras that are monitored by corporate security. So there is some some monitoring happening anyways. I know that they do kind of keep an eye out when they know there's activity happening. Some of those cameras are motion censored, so they actually at the security monitoring office, they would see something come up if there's activity happening at a certain location. So as far as response, I think they know who to coordinate and connect to. I don't want to speak without knowing all the details, but I know there is some existing monitoring happening.
Jenny, one of the kind of neat components that maybe not everyone's aware of is the community employment benefit. Did you want to talk about that at all as part of this project while we've got a bit of a lull here?
Sure, it's not construction related, so we didn't include it in the formal presentation. But one of the exciting things about this project is that we've incorporated a community employment benefits framework as part of the contract. It's actually a requirement of our federal funding that we try to find ways to have labor that's invested in this project go into benefiting the local community in which the infrastructure is being constructed. So we actually have a program and even an allowance within the contract to have the contractor work with local community groups and employment agencies to help place people that are in equity seeking and sometimes underrepresented employment groups. So everything from veterans, people with disabilities, women, First Nations, apprentices, youth. There's a list of about 8 different targeted groups by the federal government that we're trying to find opportunities to get employment experience through these contracts. So it's a really great way that, you know, we've got this amazing opportunity to have infrastructure investments in our community and making sure that it actually goes to benefit people at all levels of our community. So we're excited about that. It's the first time we've done it in the city, and we'll be applying a similar approach for each of the phases of construction for RT.
I can also add here, again, with a bit of a lull in the action, that while Jaden and I can be your main contacts, Jaden and I will also be relying heavily on some of the contractors that will be working on site as part of this construction project. We've formed great partnerships with some of the previous contractors, and they've been helpful also in making sure communication and awareness of issues ongoing with the properties during construction, and they've been of critical help as well. So just want to assure everybody that Jaden and I will be connecting with the appropriate people to get the answers that you need and to assist as the best we can.
Thanks, Jeff. And I might just use this moment to make another plug for everyone registering to receive our email updates. So if you visit london.ca/downtown-loop, and I believe you have to scroll down, but there's a button, and you can just sign up to make sure you're getting those bi-weekly updates from us about where we are with the project, and we kind of report out on what was completed and what's ahead for the next couple weeks. So it's london.ca/downtown-loop. Thank you. We've got someone just saying good night. Thank you for hosting this and keeping us all informed. And thank you for making the time to join. And we'll be talking to you soon. Have a good night.
So I think we might be at the end of our questions. Thank you everyone for participating. We know the inconvenience that construction does have on business. And however, I mean, we do have a well-coordinated team, as you can see, helping along the way, answering your questions. And certainly, yes, Jeff and Jaden are both the key contacts, but if there is any information or you're requesting more information from our office, please feel free to give us a call. We're always available to our members. And yeah, we'll be probably seeing a number of you. Jeff and I will be out delivering materials in the coming week or so. And so we'll see you there. But thank you very much to all the city staff and the team in general, just for providing this information to our merchants. It's important work. We recognize that's being done. And yeah, we look forward when we're on the other side of that. So thank you very much, everyone. Have a good evening.